Welcome back to episode 36 of the Valley Sports Talk podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the NHL trade deadline. We're also going to be talking about our sort of 3 quarters into the season award predictions. But to start off the episode, we have a very special guest joining us, new segment. We have an interview with D1 hockey player Taylor Sims. So we're going to flip to that right away. Just before we get into the interview with Taylor, Taylor asked me to put this in before the interview, so I'm going to do that right now. Although this interview is a Valley-based interview because it is Valley Sports Talk, and about Taylor's history, she wanted to ensure that she gives a shout out to the incredible RIT corner crew, the RIT pep band, and all the Tigers fans over the past 4 years that have supported Taylor and the RIT Tigers over her 4 years there. She also wants to give a special shout out to Celeste Brown, which was her coach. Coach Brown herself is an RIT alumni, and Taylor said that she is very thankful for her incredible support and belief in her as both a player and a person. So without further ado, we'll jump right into the interview with Taylor.
Okay, so today we'd like to welcome to the show D1 hockey player for the RIT Tigers women's hockey team and Deep River, Ontario native Taylor Sims. Taylor, how are you doing today?
Hi, great. Thank you.
We appreciate you taking time to join us to talk today. So like I said, Taylor's going to be joining us for a couple of questions. We're going to be talking about how she grew up playing hockey in Ottawa Valley and now being a senior for the RIT Tigers. Let's get you to give them sort of a rundown of your journey from Ottawa Valley to where you are now in RIT, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So obviously when I was, I think around 3 or 4, I started in Deep River as a Deep River Knight in their Timbits program, worked my way all the way up, all the way through all boys hockey. I played all the way until my minor midget year in Deep River. I think that was the year I transferred over to girls. So I played all the way up as a Deep River Knight. And then I think my minor midget year, I moved to the Perth Predators, which was considered a AA girls team. And then from Perth, I went to the Canada Rangers. I played a year there. And from Canada Rangers, I moved into the PWHL, which is I played for the Ottawa Lady Sens. And so you know that league, Noah, because your sister's playing in it now. But that's the best league in Ontario for girls at the time. It's great. It's an awesome league. So I played 2 years for the Sens. And from the Sens, I was recruited to play here at RIT. And just this past week, I finished 4 years at RIT.
That's great. Congratulations on your 4 years too. So first we'll get started with some questions about RIT. So this year you led the CHA in block shots with 104, which is quite a lot. How did you sort of emphasize your defensive game this year? Sorry, I had to go off.
You're good. So RIT is typically a team. When I came here, I knew we were more of a team that you have to work hard. You have to be that team that bothers other teams. We're not a big scoring team. So my defensive role in this team was a big one. And we have great goaltending, but as a D corps, it was important for us to be in the D zone, be strong and get that puck out. So I think like for me, it was every puck I saw, I was heads up and I knew if it was getting through, it was getting to me and I wanted to be in front of it. I kind of made it a game with myself and my teammates and they started to like kind of love eating pucks. Like anything that hit you was like, it was almost fun at that point.
I bet those ended up in a lot of bruises too, some of them.
I had a lot of black and blue bruises.
Yeah, for sure. So this year, unfortunately, you guys had a pretty disappointing regular season, but in the playoffs, you guys upset Lindenwood in the first round, and then you guys took Syracuse, which were the CHA regular season champs, to overtime. How did that playoff run sort of like speak to your team's character?
It's 100% our character. I think our season this year was very determined on, we were young. We were very, very young. We had 12 freshmen. They're awesome. And we saw so much growth. I think that's the cool part about CHA playoffs is you restart, everyone's 0-0. And with Robert Morris no longer being in our league this year, 6 played 5, and that was a great setup for us. We got to play Lindenwood, who we beat in the regular season. We knew we could do it again, and we just got better. Those were some of our best games, and bringing Lindenwood down was like the step towards the motivation. And when we got Q's, we were excited. That was the #1 team. They won the CHA going into playoffs, and we knew we could do it. And we were in that game the whole time. And I think if you asked anyone, we thought we had that game, and we were very proud. As much as it was sad, we were proud with that game we had.
Sorry, Brandon's this here. So as you said, this was your senior year. How do you feel you've grown as a player over these past 4 years at RIT?
I have 100% learned the game of girls hockey, and it took me a long, long time. I think playing boys, I was always puck scared and kind of wanted to get the puck off my stick. And women's hockey has really taught me the art of heads up and looking plays, like good passing scores and like good passing. And that scoring goal really it wasn't my thing. It never was. I was never a goal scorer. And I think RIT just grew me as a player, like taught me how to move my feet and like get going up the ice. And I hope I get to keep playing because I think I'm better now than I ever will be, and I hope I get to use my skills.
Going back to whenever you were there, played for the Lady Sens, whenever you were being sort of recruited, did the OUA ever sort of cross your mind, or was it always D1 first?
So before RIT, I was actually in, I guess, verbal agreement to go to Queen's University. I got into a nursing program there. Their coach, Matt Holmberg, he's amazing. I was ready to go there, and I very much did want to play there, and I was ready to be a Queen's Gale. And very late in my last year of Sens, I think March, like at as late as it can get, I was approached by RIT, and I think it was one of those instances where I wanted the D1 dream, and it kind of got handed to me on a plate. And the facility here are unbelievable. They're next level. You can't get anything like this. So close to Canada, and it was kind of just a good fit. But 100% OUA is such a great option, and I love the OUA. I have many friends that play, and it's a really great league as well.
Did you find it much of a sort of a transition going from the PWHL to D1?
It's fast. It's very, very fast. PW prepares you for tough games and playing girls of all calibers, but there's nothing like D1 hockey. You play Olympians, you play against Olympic girls, and it's good hockey, and it's fun. But for sure, a jump freshman year is a learning curve for sure.
Growing up, did you always want to play at the high level you're at now, or did it sort of just happen?
I think when I was playing boys hockey, I saw what high level girls hockey was, and I think I was of the wrong mindset when I was younger. I thought girls hockey wasn't great hockey. I was ready to play with the boys. I was like, this is tough hockey. This is good hockey. And I learned when I got older, like girls hockey is a skill, and it is so impressive. And there's great girl hockey players in the world. And I think as soon as I transitioned to girls, I realized like I do want to keep playing and I want to go to the highest level. And I don't think there was ever a doubt in my mind that I wanted to play hockey for majority of my life. But I don't think until I started playing girls, I realized the pull to play D1 and like the idea of going this far.
It was definitely a good decision for you to go play D1. We'll transition to some questions on the Valley. Obviously, your family is very invested in hockey, as both your sisters play D3 in the States. What sort of influence did they have on you growing up?
It has been the most competition for my whole life. Having those two, it's like, it's always awesome. I get along with my sisters so well, and both my parents were varsity athletes for Guelph University. So I think there was always that pull to play in university, but having my sisters and always having someone to bounce off of and compete with it really pushes you to get better. And I think some of my favorite memories with them is because we're all 2 years apart, the only opportunity we had to actually play together was at MCS, like Mackenzie's high school team. So that was like some of my best games of hockey. It was so fun to play with them and watch them develop and see what they are as players. And I'd say we're all very different, but we're all very the same in how we play hockey.
It also helps maybe your dad's the coach of that team too.
Yep, that's good. We get lots of ice time like that.
Other than obviously your sisters and your parents, was there any other like sort of hockey players or just figures that you looked up to growing up?
I think someone that really motivated me was my grandpa. My grandpa was a very good sports player in his young life, and I think even today he's a great motivator. I used to always see him in the stands in the same spot, and even going to watch my dad, and I knew like sports was a good driver and a good place to be, and it connects people. So I think him and like him pushing us and supporting us was a great idea, and like in my mind that I wanted to like play for people. And I don't know if I had a favorite player or like a favorite motivator in life, but I think I had really, really awesome coaches. A man that I am so grateful to know and was one of my greatest coaches I ever had was Bill Crochane. who was my Canada Rangers coach. He just transitioned out of the Ottawa organization. He's now with the Nepean, but he is a great man and a great coach. And he really like drove the love of hockey into me, and just that it's a passion and you need to work, and it's important to like support your teammates. And he's a really big motivator and someone I'm really appreciated to like met in my life.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously growing up in the Valley, you said that you played boys hockey. What are some experiences that sort of the boys hockey sort of made you into who you are today?
I think I had a really great cohort. We were quite successful in my years, that group of like me and the Lappings and Derek Olstead, that whole core, like Alex Sonnenberg, great guys, great hockey players. And I think it was just, I was always one of them, and they were so inclusive, and I never felt excluded. I have some great stories about like getting dressed in canteens. Like I think it might have been, I'm not sure which rink it is. We went up north to play in a tournament, and it was Jackson Grizel's dad was the coach. And I remember we rolled in and there was only one locker room for each team for the boys. And I got stuck in the canteen, and they pulled the thing down. I could see out the slots, and I was getting changed in the canteen. And I think it was just like so many learning opportunities, and there was boys I played against that didn't enjoy that I was in the league, and it was tough. And we were playing contact for the majority of my career. Like that level of hockey was
Yeah, I guess it
contact
didn't
and boys.
switch till later for you.
It didn't change. I was playing contact with the boys, and I remember like I think that's what made me more of a timid move the puck player for a long time, is I wasn't that big. I was quick, but it doesn't mean a lot when someone can drive you on the blue line and you're on your butt. Like you can't do much that way. But I think those boys and just being so inclusive and them being so talented was some of the best experiences in my life with those guys.
What was the change like when you moved into girls hockey at midget?
That's it, exactly. The difference was just that the time. You had so much time, and then you saw these girls with skills and hands, and that was something I didn't have. That wasn't in my skill set. I knew how to move my feet and play with my head up, but that was because I was learning to play scared in a sense. So when I got all this time and space and like the opportunity to learn skills, I can tell you I had the worst hands when I transitioned to girls, and I started to play with girls that had great hands, like better hands than some of the boys I was playing with previously. So that was a huge change, just like learning that game of time and space and making good plays.
Obviously, you just said the cohort you grew up with. Obviously, I know most of them. Is there any sort of like memories that come to your mind when you talk about playing with them?
This is like a funny one, but I just remember I remember a particular like game. I don't even know who we were playing, but I remember my dad was on the bench, and it was like Mr. Sonnenberg and like that cohort. And I just remember that I was D partners with Derek Olstead, and this kid just kept running him and exploding him. And Derek just kept getting up, and I was like, okay, like at least it's not me. And I just remember this look from my dad on the bench, and he's like, Taylor, the next time, back of the leg, slash him. Like you're going to the box, but you're getting this kid. And I just remember like doing it. And I wasn't scared to do it, but I did it. And I just remember like it was not even worth the penalty. Like I didn't even get a good whack in. And I just remember Derek turning around and like shaking his head, and my dad like nodding slowly, and I'm like skating to the box. Like that was a good one. Just like that was kind of my position. Like I was like, my dad's a great coach, but it was like I was like his tool to like protect, I guess, like the other guys. Like that's a good memory with them. And I think also I have like funny practice stories with like Ron Grizel as my coach. Like I just remember Ron's bag skates and just like everyone cursing him, more particularly his own son, but just like these were hard skates. Yeah.
Growing up, was there any sort of advantages you feel that from you playing in the Valley?
100%. I think the Valley is a league that, although those people in the city would consider it bush, I think it's a type of league where you know everyone and you're close to everyone, and I consider it safe and good hockey. You're never gonna run into a kid that's out there for the wrong reasons. Every kid in the Valley wants to be there. They're working hard, they want to be there, and it's good competition. Valley hockey is great. All the way up is, I have many friends, like you included, Noah, they went and played higher hockey from starting playing in the Valley. Like that's steps the Valley is good hockey, and I think it's transitioning. I see like the Pembroke Lumber Kings Association transition. They have high level like younger teams now. You even see that I'm pretty sure Renfrew had the Canada team move in, like the junior B team, junior A team. Like that's amazing. Like Valley hockey is an advantage because it's a close knit, strong competition cohort, and there's not a lot of travel, which is one of the benefits of playing in the Valley. Is you're not taking off to drive to Toronto, which is a negative of the PWHL. I was leaving every weekend to go to the GTA. So I think Valley hockey teaches you how to be tough and motivated, and it's a great opportunity for kids, and it's something that city kids will never understand.
If there was sort of one word of advice you'd give to sort of like little girls that sort of are growing up in small towns and want to play high level hockey, what would that sort of advice be?
Don't let any boy tell you you're bad, because you're not bad. There's a long line of people who will tell young girls that they're not good enough, and I think the Ottawa Valley has shifted, and girls hockey in the Ottawa Valley is a big deal. Ottawa Valley Thunder, both my sisters played. I think looking back, maybe I should have played. I didn't understand, and that is a huge push, and I want girls in the Valley to play it. But it all starts with good boys being inclusive when they're young. If you start an Adam and you get some guys that are going to tell you your crap, you just need to keep pushing. And I think it comes from everyone, like parents, coaching staff. Like girls are just as good. They just need the opportunity.
For sure. So that's about all I have. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you go here?
No, I think this is awesome. I love the podcast. I was watching some of them. I was like telling my parents, telling everyone.
Your dad was texting me the other day, he's asking me what episode he should start on. I was like, I don't know. You pick.
And I was joking around. I said I couldn't get on College Hockey Talk, but I got in something better.
Well, we definitely appreciate you taking some time and jumping on with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I hope I saw your sister's commitment is awesome. I'm so excited for her, and there's a possibility
I
I'll be.
I'm a better player than her though.
Come on, Noah.
So yeah, thanks to you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I love what you guys are doing.
All right.
Again, we want to thank Taylor for joining us on our show today. Right into the rest of this episode, we're going to start by the trade deadline. We have about 10, 11 players that we listed here that are like the 10 biggest names that could possibly be moved in this year's trade deadline. We are going to go through them, and we're going to say who we think they're going to get traded to, if we do think they're going to get traded, and maybe if we know enough, we could say maybe what the return could be from that certain team. So without further ado, we'll jump right into it. First player we have on the list is Claude Giroux. Braden, you want to go ahead?
I don't think I should be starting off with this.
Oh, Jesus.
But let's be honest,
okay.
You boys. Come on.
As much as I don't really want to see it, I think he's gonna go to Colorado. I think if they can somehow fit that cap space in, he's been rumored with Colorado. He obviously wants a cup. He's old. He's an expiring deal. He hasn't won a cup yet. Made to the finals once, way back when, and he deserves one, and he wants to be for a contender. So I could see him in Colorado.
I'm actually going to go ahead and say I don't think he's going to be moved. I just think he's sort of set there with the Flyers. I don't think the Flyers will really want to move him. But I did also say that if he is going to get traded, I did also have Colorado. I think a return of someone like Byram and Tyson Jost and maybe like a second-round pick would be enough to get it done if the Avalanche want to give up on Byram that quick. But at the same time, I don't really know if he will get traded. I don't think he's gonna, just because I think sort of he wants to be in Philly. Whether or not they're a contender this year, they do have a good they have a good roster. I don't know why they're playing so bad. I'm hoping, not as a Penguins fan, I'm hoping they don't bounce back, but for Giroux's sake, I'm hoping they can bounce back.
Yeah, well, he's been there for so long, right? I'm not sure if they'd be willing to make the move, but like, how many points does he have? This 34. Yeah, like 16 goals and 22 assists in 48 games on the season already. And I mean, if you really want to give up that, you want to give up that kind of player, especially the fact like how you're saying that the Flyers have a decent roster, even though that nothing's really happening from them right now. I think that maybe keeping their captain and, I know it's like, why would you want to change things up? Like, like I remember us saying that like sometimes the same team just doesn't keep working, but you need a leader and all that. I'm not sure if he'll end up in Colorado, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Colorado's sort of been the really main rumored team has been being put out as. I haven't really heard much. I've heard like maybe Boston. I've also heard Toronto. Toronto's apparently interested in every.
Toronto's with everybody though.
Toronto is linked to almost everybody. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he actually gets moved or not. Moving on to our second player, we have John Klingberg.
Well, speaking of Toronto, then he's been rumored to go to Toronto too. And if he does get traded, I think Toronto does make a lot of sense. Jake Muzzin just got hurt again with another concussion. He's on the LTIR, so the Leafs can sort of do a Tampa Bay Lightning move where they can be over the cap heading into playoff time, because with Muzzin being hurt and him being on the LTIR, the Leafs now have quite a bit of cap space to make a move.
It's 5.5.
5.5, a lot of money. So I could see John Klingberg going to Toronto. But recently Dallas has been doing good. I'm just checking the standings now, and they're currently 2 points out of a playoff spot behind Edmonton, and Edmonton's played 2 more games than them. So Dallas has really picked up their play recently, and they still have a good team. They were in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years ago. We can't forget this. And their team hasn't changed that drastically. So I honestly think he's not going to get traded personally. But if he does, I could see Toronto as a fit.
The fit I have for him is actually Boston. They've been linked to him, and also DeBrusk has been wanting a trade, and I think that could be a perfect trade piece going back to Dallas. If Dallas does end up falling out, or something like Klingberg's contract extension talks fall through again, I think DeBrusk and a second, third round pick, maybe first if Dallas really values him, could be enough to get it done. But like Brand said, the Dallas Stars are pushing for a playoff spot right now, and like you said, they were in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years ago, so we know they have a good enough roster. Sagan's not even playing the best he can, and we know how good of a player he can be when he is playing at his best. But I do see the fit in Toronto, but I don't think that with people like Sandin, Liljegren, and Riley, I don't really like the fit having like sort of 4 offensive first defensemen, and having like Labushkin and even Dermott, if he slides in there. Dermott's, I think, is a offensive first defenseman. I think that if you slot him in with someone like Matt Grzelcyk on Boston, it's a great pairing, top pairing, and then you have Charlie McAvoy, who's definitely not a slouch, coming on your second pairing.
You guys, both of you make very good points when it's coming to this. Like Dallas wants to push for the playoff spots. You need as many decent players as you can get, but also with Muzzin hurt too, and that actually makes a good point where they could pull the Tampa Bay card and like at the just be over the cap space, but not even have Muzzin play, whatever. But with Toronto's defense, that's gonna I know Muzzin's not like the best player, but I mean, in order to strengthen that defense up for all those players, I think that maybe he might end up in Toronto, I guess. But who really knows, though? I guess we'll see. We'll always see. It's actually a pretty interesting trade deadline.
There's a lot of big games.
There is, especially like this is a good one, to be honest with you.
Moving on, we have the third player. We have Ben Sherratt from the Montreal Canadiens. A lot of people are saying he's going to be going for a first round pick. I think at the complete overpay. I think he's honestly pretty useless, other than the fact that he's just very good defensively. Like I follow him at the J Fresh Analytic account on Twitter. He's got like an 8% WAR, so he's like in like the bottom 10th percentile of the league, in like deep analytics. The team I see him going to, if he does get traded, which I do think he will get traded, there's really no point for him to be on Montreal, being how bad they are. I see him going to St. Louis, sort of locking down that D core after Petrangelo has been gone. They have players like Torrey Krug and Justin Falk, who are very good offensive defensemen, and Sherrod is a one-dimensional player in the defensive side. So I think that if he sort of slots in on St. Louis's second or third pair, I think they have a very good shot in the playoffs. Even though I do think he's hella overrated and not worth a first-round pick.
Yeah, I would kind of agree on that too, because I have seen, like, I've been watching, like, pretty much all when I'm at college is just watch Montreal games because, you know, Ottawa, it's kind of boring to watch sometimes. So
And your roommate's up in Menard.
exactly. So, you know, a lot of the time we're watching Montreal, and I do notice that Ben Sherratt is just like, he's just defensive player. Like, he's not really the kind of go getter for a goal or something like that. So I see where it's kind of one sided for that. But I'm not sure if where he'll go for the trade, but if he does end up in St. Louis, then I mean, I'm not sure it's really that if Montreal will take a hit. I don't think they will anyways to begin with, but they're starting to pull their crap together a little bit by, you know, with the coaching change. You know, they've been playing a lot better with that new first line, and that's all. And you know what? That's all I'm going to say, because you know what? I'm so tired. I don't even know where my thoughts are going. It just kind of like, you know, when you're like on the heart monitor and it goes like this, and then it just goes a beeline there.
That means you're dead.
I am dead on the inside.
I kind of got the same opinion as Noah for Ben Sherratt, where he was talking about like John Klingberg. I think Boston's a perfect fit for a guy like Ben Sherratt. He kind of screams Boston, tough, gritty, stay-at-home defenseman. And I think that would just be a perfect pair, especially perfect fit for a team that is basically, even though they're the last wildcard team, or I think they passed Washington now, actually. So yeah, they have by a couple points, but they're a wild card team. But the way the East is going, they're already basically guaranteed a playoff spot. So that'd be Ben Sherratt would fit good in Boston on the third line shutdown role for the playoffs, I think. So I'll go Boston.
Yeah, it's a great fit. Another team I've seen him linked to is someone like Florida, but I don't know if Florida would really want to do that. I think they would, but I don't think they would. They want to give up too much, considering they don't have their first round pick this year.
Yeah. That's
fourth player is Mark Giordano of the Seattle Kraken. Personally, I have him going back to Calgary.
no way. That's what I was gonna say.
I just think it's a perfect fit. I think their defense is the one area they lack. Obviously, they have a great goaltender, top 10 goaltender in the league, and Jacob Markstrom, and then the forwards have been really playing well as of late. But that third pair of Erica Branson and Nikita Zadorov is not the strongest. So if you slide in Giordano on the second pair and you even bump somebody down to the third pair and take one of those guys out and have one of those guys your seventh D pair, I think that Calgary is could be poised for a deep playoff run. So yeah,
you know, I could see. Oh, sorry, no, I didn't realize.
Reuniting with the Flames.
Anyways, yeah, I was gonna agree on that point too, because you know, like the chemistry and all that is already there, right? So you know, if he does end up going back, now I'm not sure. He was the captain, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not. So is there a captain on Calgary right now?
No.
So I mean, there's your leadership right there again, and you know, like there could be some magic that can happen for that Calgary team. They have been lighting it up this year. It's been, I didn't think they would, but it's been a good show.
Started slow. They've been lighting it up as of late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I had as well for a roster that looks on paper pretty good for the last couple of years, has just not really performed. And they obviously let go of their captain to the expansion draft. And they picked up people like Toffoli and stuff. And like Noah said, they definitely defensemen. Like I'm looking at their roster right now, and their defensemen are like Rasmus Anderson, Erica Branson, Noah Hannafin, Oliver Shillington, Chris Tanev.
Shillington just went down too with an injury.
Exactly. They like none
their
of
their top three is good, and then their bottom three isn't as good.
Exactly. And Braden made a great point where Mark Giordano has been on this team for I don't even want to say how many years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
He's been there for what do you want to say, 10 years?
I think around that.
Yeah.
So he knows all the players. He knows
the system.
He knows the system. He knows he knows everything. And like Braden said, he was the captain for
it's
how
like
many
he never
years?
left.
Yeah, it's like a welcome home.
Like he just went on a little tour.
It was planned.
Moving on to player number 5, we have Jacob Chikrin of the Arizona Coyotes. And personally, I do not have him being traded this trade deadline. I have him being moved in the offseason. To who? I don't know, but I just don't see a realistic package for him. He's a 23-year-old defenseman who you could say he's a top 10 defenseman right now. Personally, I'd say he's more top 15. I don't think he's more close to top 10. But I haven't really seen very many packages out there. Every single team has called Arizona and been linked to him. I'm pretty sure. Not every team, obviously, but close to it. I've heard so many teams being linked to him, and I just can't really put it. He might get traded for all I know, but in my head, I can't really find a realistic package. Like I was looking at it last night when I was going over the script, and I couldn't think, like, the teams he was linked to. I couldn't think of what this team would want to give up. Like, he's a RFA, I believe, at the end. No, he's got 3 years left on his contract. What am I saying? But he's a great young player. First of all, I don't know why Arizona's giving up on him. So like he would be my cornerstone for the rebuild, him and Keller.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I would
then at the
agree.
same time, I don't know what a 23-year-old's value is.
I would
That
say
makes
it's
sense.
very high.
I don't know if
Um,
you guys have anything different.
I don't know. Yeah, like
Not
a lot
really.
of these,
You
a lot
kind
of these people, like around the trade deadline, you see like Claude Giroux, John Klingberg, Mark Giordano. They're kind of people you add for a playoff push. But this guy, I mean, like Noah said, he's so young. He's never seen the playoffs. Obviously, he plays on Arizona. I don't think like Noah said, it's going to be hard to trade him at the trade deadline because he's not really a playoff helper. I mean, obviously he is. He's a great player, but he doesn't
He's
have
not
the
a
experience.
rental.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're trading for him, you're planning on building around him on your decor.
Exactly. Which is why I could definitely see and agree with Noah that it makes a whole lot of sense to be traded later. But if he does get traded, a team I would love to see personally is Detroit. They're a great young team.
Yeah, that's a
They're
good one. I like that one actually.
I love the fit there.
I
Him
do
and
too.
him and Mo Sider or something.
Yeah, that would
Um,
imagine that.
they're such a young team and they're exciting to watch for the first time since they're like 26 straight years in the playoffs. um, and they did it right. They were bad for 5 years in a row. They got good draft picks. They've got great young pieces, and they're obviously by their play, they're 500 right now. It's starting to look up in Detroit, and I think he would be a great ad.
This is completely unrelated, but if we're talking about like top like executives out there, obviously you have guys um like I'd say Dubas is up there, but then you got like Iserman, or is it Iserman there?
Yep,
He has done a great job
he's done
with
a
that
great job.
organization.
It's turned around.
Definitely.
Turned around.
They are on the up and coming, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, it went from like Larkin being by himself to having all this young support in like a rapid like 3 years. They're a
Braden, you
fun
got any
team to
thoughts on
watch.
Chicken?
No,
Pardon?
you guys pretty much hit it on the head. That's what I was pretty much like gonna say. Just because like he's just so young still, but like I'm not sure. Like there's still value in him, and like you can build around like people like that, especially what Arizona's trying to do. But and Brandon also makes a good point where Detroit is starting to come back, where they're a young team, and we're starting to see a little bit more from them. But between the two, I'm not really sure like if he'll stay or if he'll go. But that's
Should I stay or should I go?
should I stay or should I go? It's just I don't know, you guys. You both make very excellent points.
Moving on, our next player is Thomas Hurdle of the San Jose Sharks.
Personally, this could be a little bit of bias, but if Toronto doesn't get one of those defensemen up top, I think Thomas Hurdle would be another good fit in Toronto. Obviously, their first line set with Bunting, Marner, and Matthews, but there's always been that missing winger on the second line. I know Hurdle's the center, but I mean, you can slide him on the wing, no problem. Toronto's needed a second line winger for a very long time, and if they can't find a winger, I think Thomas Hurdle would suffice.
Personally, I don't think he gets moved just because I've been hearing lately that his contract talks in San Jose are going very well. So that's the main reason why I don't see him getting moved. is mainly just because he's been having positive contract talks with San Jose.
Yeah, I read when I was doing my research for the trade deadline. I was reading about that too. Like, well, I've been hearing about it too on different types of social media and all that too. Because now I've been following more sports pages to keep up with you guys a little bit more. And I heard, and you've been exactly what you said. Like, the talks for contracts are going really good right now. So if they can keep that up, then maybe he'll just stay instead.
Moving on to the next player, we have Phil Kessel
Phil
of
the
the
Thrill, baby.
Phil,
Arizona Coyotes.
Personally, a team that makes lots of sense to me is actually the New York Rangers. They're a young team, obviously. Not a lot of them have been in the playoffs, and they got a very good record right now. The thing that kind of scares me, like as somebody who doesn't cheer for the Rangers, is the Rangers have $30 million in cap space, I believe. So they can make some big moves, and obviously, if you got $30 million of cap and you're fighting for the 1 seed in the East, per se, which they are, you got to add players. And a guy like Phil Kessel, who's won cups with Noah's Pittsburgh Penguins, has the experience. He's obviously a goal scorer, but he doesn't have to be the guy because you got Panarin, Zibanejad, people like that. He can slot in there, kind of low profile, and just do his thing. So I like the move for the Rangers.
The one team. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Braden.
No, I'm just gonna ask if he does. So let's say this does happen. He ends up on the Rangers. What line do you think he'd play on?
You slot him in on the second with.
Phil Kessel's 34 some years old.
I say you can easily slot him in on the second line with like Zibanejad and
Lafreniere. Does he play on second line?
Zibanejad plays center to the second line.
Yeah, but who's his wing partner? Is it Lafreniere?
No, Lafreniere plays on the first line with Panarin.
Is he?
I was gonna say because he's.
I literally was just watching. Oh, we put Ryan Strome.
No, that'd be a great fit, actually.
It's right. The second line is Ryan Strome. The first line is Panarin, Kreider, Lafreniere, and then it's Zibanejad, Ryan Strome, and I think it's like Capo Caco, but he's hurt right now.
And
That
Ryan
actually could
Strome-
work. You could
yeah.
slide him in there if that would be the
Yeah.
case. If he had ended up going to the
That's
Rangers.
Definitely a fit there.
Yeah.
The team I have him going to is the LA Kings.
That'd be cool too, actually.
They're in a win now mode. Obviously, they're in a playoff spot, I believe. If they haven't fallen off the face of the earth.
They're second. They're ahead of Vegas right now.
Oh yeah, you're right. I did see that. They're obviously in a win now mode with players like Kopitar, Quick, and Doughty. And they are lacking. The one thing they're lacking is forward depth. And obviously, you slide in a 34-year-old who has playoff experience, cup experience, and can score when he wants to. Phil Kessel, like Brand said, he doesn't have to be the guy. You got people like Kempe, you got Kopitar, you got Arvidsson there, who got traded from Nashville. He doesn't have to be the guy. He just has to be a guy that can score the puck when they need him to. And that's what Phil does most of the time. And Braden's gone.
Braden's gone. He's got nothing to say about
it. Moving on, I guess, since he's gone, we'll move on to Marc-Andre Fleury.
I mean, he's your boy. What do you think?
I was gonna have him being moved, but yesterday he came out and said that the odds of him staying in Chicago for the rest of the season are higher than him getting moved. That's the main reason I have him staying. Obviously, it sucks because he's on like a streak where he's been in the playoffs like 16 straight years. So as a Pittsburgh fan, I'd be sad to see that come to an end. Obviously, he's one of the better goalies of our generation. You could argue he's top 10 all time. That was the winner last year. Sucks that he won't probably be in the playoffs this year. Some teams that make sense if he gets moved is maybe like I don't even know, to be honest. Like I'm trying to think of a playoff team who needs a goalie, but there's not really
the only team I could think of is Edmonton.
Oh, I guess Edmonton. I forgot about them.
Edmonton makes perfect sense.
Edmonton does make sense.
I thought Edmonton's. I thought Mike Smith was playing well though.
It's Mike Smith.
It's
Would
Mike
you rather
Smith.
have Mike?
I know it's Mike Smith, but I just thought.
You're gonna take Marc-Andre Fleury or Mike Smith, who's had a good 4-game session. I don't know.
I don't know. I just heard that. Well, I heard that he was doing good, but yeah, actually,
ain't a playoff starter. for a good.
No, he's not. But that's where Marc-Andre Fleury would come into case though, because he
And
is.
for the price that Fleury got traded for in the offseason, if you get like a 3rd-round pick for him, if you're Chicago, that's a win.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know, Brandon. Did you have him going anywhere else? I guess you just said Edmonton.
Mine was
there, huh?
Edmonton. That's the only team that like really makes sense because obviously, I mean, if Marc-Andre Fleury is going to get traded, which I mean, like Noah said, it doesn't sound too highly likely, but if he does, a team that's not in the playoffs or not pushing for the playoffs is not going to trade for an old goaltender. So the only playoff team that really makes sense to me is Edmonton for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that point too. That actually makes the most sense right now because it's like especially the fact that like Mike Smith is like he's not quite there in development yet, or maybe he never will be. So this would be a good chance to give him the 1-year contract and see maybe that this is it to push for the playoffs and get them in the spot in order to keep it going, right? Because your team's just as good as until you need a good goaltender, right? So I think pushing for that wouldn't be a bad suggestion, but I wouldn't give him a big contract though if that'd be the case.
Definitely. The next player we have is Rickard Rakell of the Anaheim Ducks.
I know I just said this to you, but I'm gonna say him again. Give me the Rangers. Like I said, they got 30 million in cap space. They can make big plays. If you can add Phil Kessel and Rickard Rakell, imagine that starting six, that top six.
I don't even
That's
know if
scary
I
team.
think I think if they go after Rakell, though, I don't think they'd go after Phil.
They got the cap space for it.
I think on that note, I think Phil doesn't even make the top 6.
Maybe not, but I mean Lafreniere. Yeah, I mean maybe you can move Strome down. Lafreniere, I'm looking at the stats right now, has 12 goals, 4 assists, 16 points in 51 games.
Oh yeah, I know he hasn't been good.
He's definitely someone you could put on the third line. I mean that they got the money. I think if they want to be serious, why not?
The team I have him going to, this is where my bias is going to come in. I have him going to the Penguins.
That'd be nasty.
He was rumored last year to go to the Penguins until the Penguins traded for Jeff Carter, and again he's been rumored. One of the teams he's been rumored to is the Penguins again. And right now the Penguins are in need of depth forward. They've had so many injuries. COVID's hit them. They've just been not able to score. Like guys like that we talked about earlier podcasts, guys like Evan Rodriguez have fallen off. Kapanen has 1 point in his last 15 games. Like Malkin needs that top 6 winger to play with him. And I think you have a top 6 of Danton Heinen, who's actually played very well with Malkin. And you add a player like Rickard Rakell and Kapanen goes the other way in the deal, which I am A-okay with. Get him out of Pittsburgh. I'm done with him. I think that you pull that trigger if you're Ron Hextall.
I agree. That's a good fit.
I didn't really have a team for this guy just because it was a little bit harder to do research on him. So can I just take a pass if you don't mind, guys? Okay, good. I'd rather not say something that's not entirely true.
This player Brandon put on here is a joke. He said it was a joke at least.
Sort of though.
Big Z.
He probably will
Chara.
get traded. Let's be honest.
What?
I mean, I could see him getting traded for sure.
I could too, but I don't think any team will. I don't see him like on a playoff team. I don't think he's a top 6 defenseman. I think he's pretty useless out there.
I mean, you know what? He's got the experience.
He's going to the Leafs.
He's definitely not going to the Leafs.
Yeah.
That would be cool though.
Imagine.
He's hurt us so many times. I don't think Leafs would want him. I'm just kidding. We would love to have him. But like, I don't know, just to throw names around and be fun. Like, why wouldn't Florida want him as a 7th defenseman?
That's true.
That'd be like, I mean,
I don't think he'd be worth more. I don't think he would be worth more than a 5th round pick.
Me neither.
Like
No,
maybe
exactly.
fifth might even be too much for him.
Like how many years? Like I don't think Chara has how many years left anyways.
He's 44.
You throw a 5th at the Islanders for Zdeno Chara if you're Florida. Do the Islanders say no? Probably not. I mean, they're not making the playoffs. Zdeno Chara is going to retire or leave next year. Why wouldn't you just say, sure, I'll take a 5th? They probably would.
I'd do it if I was Florida. Even if
Me
I was the
too.
Islanders, I'd do it. You're not making the playoffs. You might as
I'd
well
do it
get
if I were with both teams.
you
If
might as
any,
well get an asset for a 44-year-old defenseman who's basically has one foot in the grave on the skates.
if you're offered like $6 for Zdeno Chara, you take it if you're the Islanders because it's not coming back. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
No.
I added this player, Bray. I'm not sure if you saw it or if you edited it too early.
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't see this one.
Okay, so me and Brandon can just talk about it. That's all right.
Okay.
Unless you want to find some. It's a JT Miller of the Vancouver Canucks. This is the one player I have that if he's getting traded, he will go to your Leafs.
I actually agreed with you there.
I think it's more likely that the Leafs would trade for him than Hurdle,
Me
mainly just
too.
because of the Hurdle contract talks. I think that you might not like this trade, but I think their first round pick and Timothy Liljegren gets it done.
I think that trade goes through as well.
I don't know if Toronto wants to give up on Liljegren just yet because he's 22, I think.
Yes, yeah. I wonder if do you think Dermott in a first would get that done?
I don't think
I don't know.
I don't see Vancouver accepting it. I think Vancouver wants a prospect or a young player and a first round pick for him.
I mean, you know what? If the Leafs really want to try and get past the first round, JT Miller makes a whole lot of sense. I mean,
Imagine
I would say
imagine the
Liljegren-
top six of Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and Bunting. Bunting's played great on that line, and then you have John Tavares, JT Miller, and Nylander back coming in next.
That's what I'm saying. They need someone who can
That'd
play
be
the
good.
wing.
At that point, who is not on your first power play unit?
Exactly. Like
It's-
that's a deadly like
Well, currently
whole combo
Bunting's
right there.
top units.
Yeah, I know Bunting is, but between the other ones, because obviously you got to have a D in there, unless the Leafs want to go crazy and go 5 forwards. Imagine, like, it's between, in my opinion, it's between Nylander or JT Miller, and it's who you think fits that power play more.
Yeah, it's probably JT Miller just because of his passing ability, but I mean, hypothetically,
So yeah,
they
that's
call
the
number
one
power
player I
play,
think that the Leafs should pull the trigger on.
I
And I'm
would
no
love
Leafs
that.
fan.
I would love that personally.
Okay, moving on. We're gonna move into our award predictions. We did this last week with basketball, so we said, hey, might as well do it the other active sport that we talk about in hockey this week. We're gonna be going over the Hart, the Norris, the Vezina, the Calder, the Jack Adams, the Art Ross, and the Rocket Richard. If you don't know what any of these are, I don't know why you're still watching this podcast because you obviously don't know hockey too much. No, I'm just kidding. Keep watching. You guys can search it up as we go. We'll start with the Hart, which actually I guess I can tell you guys it's the MVP of the season. In my opinion, it's between 3 players right now and 3 players only. My winner is Austin Matthews. Best player in the league, in my opinion, at this moment. I'm taking him over McDavid just because his defensive ability. I was watching what game was it that I was watching and I texted you? It was during reading week.
Oh my God, they played.
Anyways,
Was it the Wild? Wild?
Yes. It
Yeah.
was like he had like 2 goals.
Yeah.
Just the fact that the player we saw when he was a rookie to the defensive player we saw now is like a huge difference. And I think McDavid's a great player. Obviously, he's an amazing player. What am I saying? I just think that Matthews' improvement on the defensive end puts him over the top. And I think he's the best player in the league. And I think that this year he is going to win the Hart. The other player I considered was actually giving it to Shesterkin just because he is putting up nuts stats.
Yeah. I agree, but I mean, I think Matthews definitely has a strong case. But we know how the NHL is and how much everybody loves McDavid. So I predict McDavid because if I had to put money on it, I'd probably put money on McDavid because the league loves him. Obviously, he deserves it. He's
That was going to be my
like Noah
opinion.
said. Now Austin Matthews is definitely in the conversation. So you'd say he's top 2 in the league, top 1 for a lot. So he's definitely deserving. So I'm not trying to slander his name, obviously, but I think it should go to Matthews at this current point in the season. But I think it will end up going to Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I'm jumping on board with you too for Connor McDavid, even though those 2 players have a very strong case to win the MVP. but that was gonna be my opinion, was that he is the showboat of the NHL, and like people want, usually when we're talking about a most valuable player, it's usually always in the talk, or because McDavid's such a good player, even though like I don't even know what I want to say about that, because like we all know what he's about. So, but I know like with Noah, how you're saying that, like on a defensive end, like Matthews has gotten a lot better this season, and is doing good numbers on it. Oh my god, I can't even fucking think. Oh, I'm dead. Okay. Connor McDavid. I'm sorry, boys. This is bad. I'm so sorry.
This should be a walk in the park for my trivia later.
Oh,
You have trivia today?
Oh, I thought you did. Never mind.
I have trivia today.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's gonna be a walk in the park for me over Braden.
Oh yeah.
It will be. I can't even wrap my head around anything right now.
Moving on, we have the Norris Trophy, which is basically given to the best defenseman, and I think this year it's honestly it's a pretty easy choice. It's Kel McCarr for me. I think he's the best defense in the league. He's 23. He has a highlight every other night of him going end to end or him walking around some other defenseman to score a game winner. And his stats also obviously back up his play. The other guy, you could say Hedman, but at the same time, or Fox. But I think Makar is just like that much step above those two.
I also gave it to Kel McCarr. Like Noah said, he's a walking highlight. You see this guy every second night on your feeds, on all your social media. I think another guy obviously is Adam Fox, because I mean he won it last year. But it's just he's not as entertaining obviously as Cale Makar is, so he'll get a lot of popularity. Cale Makar will, over Fox, and I think just the season he's having, the season Colorado's having, it's hard not to pick Cale Makar.
Yeah, when I was looking at these predictions for coming in, his name was right at the top coming into it, and then right underneath was Victor Hedman, and then Roman Yoshi.
Yeah, you definitely can't cut the slack to Yossi. He's having a great season.
He's been
Exactly. But with Colorado and the way that they're playing right now, like they actually have a chance to win a Stanley Cup maybe with this team, and he's playing fantastic. So
Couldn't agree more.
especially with the numbers he's putting up. So I would think that, like he'd be he is the top contender right now to win the Norris.
Agreed. Moving on, we have the Vezina, which is basically the best goalie. I think there's actually really only one answer again for this.
If we all don't have the same answer here.
I think it's got to be Igor Shesterkin. The numbers he's putting up are pretty nuts. He's putting up like Carey Price 2016 numbers where he could go for the Hart Trophy. I don't think I think his stats are like got it's like a 940 save percentage, like a 1.9 goals against average. So he's not even letting in 2 goals a game basically. It's nuts, and I think he's the main reason why the Rangers are so good. I think if you take Shesterkin away, they're not a playoff team. That might be a hot take, but I just
No, it's
don't.
definitely not. I agree.
No, I would agree. I don't think that's a hot take. No, you make a very valid point when it comes to that.
Shesterkin's not playing the way he's playing right now. I don't think the Rangers are even close to where they are.
Well, they have a pretty similar team to last year, and
yeah, exactly.
You saw where they were in the standings last year. Yeah, so if we're talking about Vezina, I mean, Noah kind of hit it on the dot. I won't even go too much more into it because I'd just be wasting time. It's Igor Shesterkin for sure.
Yeah.
The other guy I considered was Freddie.
Fred was second for me.
I think he was definitely second for me, and then third was sort of a toss-up. I couldn't really figure it out.
There's a bunch. You got Markstrom, you got Tristan Jarry, Campbell,
Vasilevsky.
Yeah, Vasilevsky's jumped in the combo now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of goalies that are just having like really good years this year.
Yeah, it's actually
I've noticed that. Moving on, we have the Calder, which is the Rookie of the Year. I think this is down to maybe 3. 2 probably from the same team.
Yeah.
I think mine personally is Mo Sider, just because he is a rookie defenseman. He's already able to sort of quarterback a team. I think second was Bunting, B-Will's Leaf player. I just sort of didn't give it to him just because I think obviously he's playing on a line with McDavid or not McDavid, Matthews and Marner, whereas Sider's on a Detroit team who's young, and he's like I said, he's able to quarterback that unit. He's their number one D. He's their number one D on their power play. He's putting up numbers, and his analytics are very high. So yeah,
Noah hit it on the dot. Who I think deserves it. I think it's Mo Sider for all the reasons Noah said. It's his rookie year, obviously. That's why we're talking about him. And the amount of leadership and the way the team leans and depends on him at such a young age, and the way that he's able to rise and play at the level he's playing at with all that is phenomenal. So he definitely deserves it. Who I think's going to win it is maybe Leafs bias. I think Michael Bunting will end up winning it just because the Leafs are on fire recently, and normally it does end up going to the rookie who has the most points. And by the end of the year, I think Michael Bunting will have the most points
I
among
think he already
rookies.
does.
No, he's
Is Raymond still in the lead?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's in the lead right now with 20 points.
He's got a lot more than 20 points.
There's no way. Maybe 20
Maybe
goals.
20 goals.
Oh, maybe that's it. Okay, well, it just says points on the when I was doing it, so
So yeah, so it's kind of half and half Leafs bias. I think Mo Sider should win it. I think Michael Bunting will win it.
Braden, you got anything else different?
no. That this was a hard one for me because it's so hard to pick a good rookie right now when we're still mid-season in the NHL. So I couldn't really wrap my head around what rookie I wanted to pick in order to actually make a valid point. So I just kind of left it blank.
Raymond's got 43. Bunting's got 41.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Moving on to the Jack Adams, which is the coach of the year. It is, I said that Jack Adams is a coach of the year. This is my Penguins bias, but I think Mike Sullivan finally should win the Jack Adams. Just the amount of stuff pitchers went through, their injuries, like I noted earlier in the episode, their COVID. He's just been able to mix and match those lines, and they are still fighting for one of the best teams in the league, up close to I think they're fifth in the league right now. I think another guy you got to put in there is
because Toronto's fifth.
Oh, sorry, what are they tied for points?
Tied for points, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's another player. Who's the other guy I had up here?
Who are you talking about?
There's another coach who. Oh, the Calgary coach, Brent Sutter. Brent Sutter.
Yeah.
I think he was my second.
Well, you know what? It's good to know that we have the same minds. They were in my top three, those two coaches you talked about, but I actually went another direction. I went Craig Berube, coach of the St. Louis Blues. This team you normally see team, obviously the way draft goes in this sort of era, it's hard to be good for an extended period of time. And he keeps finding ways to get St. Louis into the playoffs. I mean, they've basically been a playoff team for the past 10 plus years, and competitive too, as we saw.
He got there in the year they won the cup. He got hired halfway through the year.
Yeah, and I mean, he's kept them competitive. And every year, I think we don't have high hopes for this Blues team. I mean, I think we still have them as a borderline playoff team, but personally, I didn't have them eighth in the NHL at 32-14-6 record. And he continues to keep having these players play at a high level. So he's my guy.
Vermont, I had Ron. What is it? Is it Brind'Amour? And just based on the Hurricanes on how they're having a amazing season right now. I remember when the Hurricanes never used to really be in the talk, they were kind of just low-key team, and then they've really this year just exploded, and I think that has a lot to do with the players and the coaching staff. So that was my pick, but also Mike Sullivan was in the talk too there when I was reading on the website there too, Noah. So you don't make a bad point there either.
he sort of has the same case as Craig Berube. Like, it's just a team that we're like, when are they gonna not be good anymore? And then Mike Sullivan has that team playing at a high level every single year.
Moving on. What's next? The
Ross.
Art Ross, which is most points. Personally, I have it going to a guy who is not currently leading the league. I have it going to Draisaitl.
Sheesh. Draisaitl. I think I'm gonna be alone in my pick personally.
I think Draisaitl is going to lead. I think he's third right now behind McDavid and Huberdeau. I wanted to give it to Huberdeau.
He's second, but 1 point behind McDavid for first.
1 point, okay. I wanted to give it to Huberdeau because he's having a great season. He's a good underrated player who usually doesn't get talked about, but I think I'm going to give it to Draisaitl. No reason, just guess.
I think Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have been holding these awards for too long. I'm actually going to go Jonathan Huberdeau.
I like it.
Florida's been on a tear. I mean, all year, but I mean, actually, they've lost 3 in a row as of right now. But he's still
They're
putting
not on
up
tear right
points,
now.
obviously. I mean, I feel like obviously there's no slowing down McDavid or Draisaitl, but just in recent games, they haven't been putting up the 3 points a game, 4 points a game that we see them do on a nightly basis. And I think teams, obviously you can't figure them out, but I think teams might be finding out ways to sort of limit their game. And Huberdeau's been doing it for such a long time. He's a great passer. He always knows where Barkov is. And I think he might take it this year.
Unfortunately, no, how you're saying, like you guys 16, Draisaitl and McDavid, but those two are the combo to make the most points. So between the two, it's kind of tough, but that's the way it's kind of leaning towards for this. What's this award called? Art Ross for the Art Ross Award. So I think I'm gonna have to agree with Noah on Leon Draisaitl for that one.
Final award we have is the Rocket Richard, basically most goals. I'm giving it to the current leader right now, Austin Matthews. Just don't see him slowing down.
I'm gonna agree.
That's who I had too.
Matthews too. He's just played less games than everybody else, and he's putting up the same. Well, obviously he's leading right now, so and in less games, so he can't be stopped. He's a goal scoring machine. Draisaitl's up there too. It's basically a 2-man horse right now. Kreider's kind of falling off.
Yeah, Kreider's kind of slowed down.
So it's going to be a close one. They currently both have 37 goals actually, so it'll be a close finish. But I think Matthews will take it.
Perfect. That's going to wrap up the NHL version or the NHL portion of our show today or episode. We're going to keep it going with. Hey?
What do you want to do?
What do you mean?
You want to do the top 5 or do you want to just go straight to trivia?
What do you want to do?
I got unfortunately I gotta go, guys. I got things to do. So I don't mean to be that guy, but if you guys want to talk about your 5 favorite taco bars, then by all means I'm in it, but I got stuff to do.
Well, you'll stick around for trivia, of course.
Of course, I'm gonna stick around for trivia.
Yeah, we'll just do trivia.
Okay. Because Braden's not a dedicated member to for you guys listening.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is.
Sorry, responsibilities.
Trivia. I think Noah's gonna wipe this one, but we'll see. I did it on current NHL, so
stats right now.
Yeah, so I think this quiz should be pretty easy if you watch the NHL. Shouldn't be too hard. Which team is currently first in the NHL?
I got my answer.
I feel like you should answer first.
No,
Braden, you should definitely answer.
I should know. First overall in the NHL?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think I got my answer.
What do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Hurricanes. No, Colorado. Change my answer. Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado's my answer.
It's Colorado by a wide margin. 5 points.
Thank God I changed my answer.
Carolina's second, though. Not bad.
Yeah.
Flipping it to the opposite direction, which team is last in the NHL currently?
Team sucks.
There's quite a few.
There's quite a few. I'm just trying to think.
I think Colorado actually set a record for quickest team to 40. Did they?
I think they were like the quickest team to 80 points.
They're at 84 points. Ridiculous. Who sucks, Braden? You got an answer?
I think I'm gonna go with Arizona.
Yeah, it's Arizona because Montreal just passed them because of their winning streak there.
Yeah, so for reference, Colorado has 84 points. Arizona has 32 in 53 games. So yes, you guys are both correct. Braden's 2 for 2 on a roll. We kind of gave this answer away, which I was kind of hoping we wouldn't earlier in the episode. But who is the highest scoring player that is not currently playing on a Canadian hockey team? I think this is where I might stump Braden, but we did just talk about it, so. It's getting quiet in here.
I have my answer, by the way.
I think you're going to get perfect on this quiz.
Wait, did you say that we just talked about this guy?
Yeah.
Yes, we definitely did.
Okay, I think I got it.
What do you think?
John, is it Bruberdo? Bruberdo? I don't know. Is that how you say it?
I know who you're going for, yes.
It's Huberto.
Okay, thank you.
It definitely is. Huberto. 3 for 3.
Oh, Hubert. Okay. No, I get it.
Who is the leading rookie in goals? What are you clicking, Braden?
I'm clicking my tab closed. Relax.
Yeah. You cheat.
Yeah, I'm closing the dock so I don't cheat. Hang on. It's up at the top. I didn't see the answer. I promise.
It's okay. You tried your best.
I got 3 so far. This is going pretty good.
The Leafs are currently losing 1-0 to the Buffalo Sabres, so
Oof.
it's always good.
Yes, indeed.
It's always a fun time watching the Leafs.
Yeah, you got me stumped on this one. I'm not sure who it is.
Stumped, eh?
He stumped.
Noah's not stumped.
Noah's got this one.
No, he's got it.
Maybe
Take
he
a
should
guess,
answer
Braden.
first.
Take a guess, Braden.
Pass.
We've been talking about 3 rookies this podcast. We've been talking about Mo Seider, we've been talking about Lucas Raymond, and we've been talking about Michael Bunting. It's one of them 3 for sure.
And one of them's a defense, so you should be down to 50-50.
Okay. You know
Do you
what?
remember which
If
one
I
the
gotta go
defense-
between A and B, when I take a quiz, B is always the way out. So I'm gonna go. But what is it? Bunting? What is it? Is that
Michael
how-
Bunting?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm giving Bray answers. I'm sorry, Noah. Don't worry.
It's okay.
I won't help him on this one. You'll definitely have you'll get this one. How many goals does the current NHL leading goal scorer have now? Hopefully that number will be extended tonight.
Okay.
Closest to gets the correct answer. If no one's worried.
I think. Oh yeah, you have to give me. I have to guess the number.
You have to guess a number. How many goals does Austin Matthews and Leon Draisaitl currently have? Is what I'm asking.
Okay. I think I got a number.
I don't know why.
I think I'm gonna go with like. I feel like it's gonna be higher, but I'm gonna go middle. I'm gonna go 35. Is that good enough? Around there.
That's an answer. We'll take
They both currently have 37.
both Matthews and Draisaitl both currently have 37 goals.
Oh, damn it!
Don't worry, Braden.
I was
It's the last
close.
question, but you can still win because this question is worth 2 points because there's a bonus. There's a
Okay.
bonus. There's a bonus.
Okay.
Which goalie in the league right now has the most shutouts? Bonus point for how many shutouts this goalie currently has.
Braden,
No,
you need me to die to not get this.
What?
Braden needs me to die to not get this. I know it.
Right, I'm in the same room as Noah. If you need me to knife him down, let me know.
Do it. Take him out.
You can get this, Braden. Come on. I made the podcast easy for you. It's about people that we have. Every single answer is something we've talked about in this
We
episode.
talked about this
Okay,
guy.
well
We didn't
then-
say how many he had, but we talked about this guy.
Okay. Well, then I probably know who it is. Then if we've already talked about him.
We've talked about a few goalies, so you never know.
What was his name there? It's the place for it's the Rangers goalie.
Igor Shesterkin.
Okay, and I'm gonna go with. Let's see, how many shutouts? Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll go 12.
Jacob Markstrom has 8 shutouts.
Jacob Markstrom has 8 shutouts is correct.
Yeah.
So Noah just wiped the quiz. He paid.
But you did well, though. You did very well.
You did well. It means you paid.
Did well for the
attention to what we
first
talked
time.
about.
Especially, and maybe you should just be dead tired more often when you're doing trivia. Maybe you don't think of so many stupid answers in your head, and you actually think of.
Well, it's good news you did well because it means you pay attention to what we talk about during the podcast. Because this was basically a trivia about the podcast we talked about today.
That's good.
So you did a good job.
Yeah. So I'll wrap it up for today. We want to again thank Taylor for joining us on
Thank you.
today's episode. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, check our Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and we'll see you next week.
See ya. Shit. This could be bad. Shit. Ha! It's just gonna have me saying shit.